So I'll just I'm gonna be totally like bare my soul. Elijah, you mentioned shamanism a little bit, right?
Okay, okay,
So I'm a little bit into like I guess I'd call it modern shamanism. Like I kind of do my own thing, but I'm very into
okay.
like, getting into psilocybin or,
Nice.
different psychedelics and stuff like that and changing involvement of consciousness and getting to where you can have a heightened state of awareness and stuff like that. So I have a very, very close relationship with Lilith. Um, I believe that in my understanding, attain three levels of attunement with a spirit. I believe at level one, you kind of understand the spirit, are beginning to work with it, do offerings and rituals for it. At level two, you're kind of starting to, work with totally integrating that spirit and bring it into your field of energy, and bringing it into yourself. And I believe at like a level three type of attunement, you're completely bonded and integrated with that spirit. You know what I mean? Like it's 100% in your energy field and you are it and it is you. So I took psilocybin the other day, and it was a very intense experience, but I invoked Lilith at the time, as I usually do, and I asked for her to take full control of my body, and my entire like field of vision was like wiped out with like pink and like a complete feminine energy like took over like my whole like perception of reality, and I was absorbed in this very like loving, compassionate, euphoric, like just complete perception, and it was full, and I loved it. But it's a very crazy experience because like having an energy completely like wipe over your entire like perception of self is a
Uh-huh.
very odd experience, you know? Um, I like to open myself up to possession. I've done it with a few entities. And I mean, it's not like for me, like they take full control of my body and are walking around doing chaotic things. It's that I entirely feel their being within me and like their thoughts and my thoughts are one within the moment.
I feel
Um,
like
so like for me, that's a very outstanding experience. And I'm not sure if you guys can relate to that, but like it's definitely profound, you know?
I feel like the
Absolutely.
type of workings I do with spirits, it brings me to that level, especially if I really take it serious and build a relationship with them. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah, yeah.
like I
No,
relate
it's
to
amazing.
100%. Like it feels like, let's say Lucifer, who I've worked with a lot, if I
Yeah,
if I'm in a phase that I'm really taking the working serious, it feels like like our the thoughts are like intertwined, like it's hard to explain.
no, it is. It is. But I get you. Yeah. I think all three of us kind of understand exactly what we're talking about, you know. I like to
Yes, I'm
refer
familiar.
to it as mental transference, or,
Mm.
you can call it telepathy or anything, but it's literally like another being is within you and you are perceiving it. And for me, at first, it was odd. Like I had to question myself and remain skeptical. Like, I like the idea of like, am I losing it or am I finding it? Right? Like it's that fine line of like, am I going insane or like
Well,
am I
that's
figuring out
that
what
Oh,
reality is, you know?
that's the psychonaut chaos magician
Yeah.
string. That's
well,
the rope. That's the string.
Yeah. I love
technically,
it.
technically, we don't have to get too deep into it, so we don't get thrown away or some shit. But if technically, if we consider, we probably have like to society, it's mental illness and stuff. But
Oh,
Yeah.
reality, like it's real shit. Like it has profound effects. Like there's no denying it. So
I think society just hasn't yet got to the point of understanding what people like us are experiencing and are awakened to. And
yeah.
we don't yet have necessarily a label or a diagnosis for it that would help or help people like us integrate what we're experiencing, you know.
Hmm.
And I think maybe in the future, people like us will help make that a reality where we are understood as being maybe visionaries or channels or vessels or whatever you want to refer to yourself as, insert chaos magician label here, right?
mhm.
I think that's the thing is that we're opening up to a larger reality where spiritual being is integrated with human life more, you know.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. or that we're recognizing it more, perhaps.
Sure.
It's not as hidden as it used to be.
But it's funny
Right.
because I agree with you. I feel that way. But at the same time, I can't help but feel like we're also like losing connection in a lot of ways as well. So like there's this weird dichotomy because I mean we do live in this like dualistic reality, but I feel like the ancients and our ancestors used to be more, call it clairvoyant if you will, but I feel like they used to have a much stronger connection with the astral. And I feel like they used to have much greater control over the etheric and or chi or prana. So it's weird. It's like we're becoming more aware of this thing, perhaps, because we're getting further away from it. So now we're able to see the forest through the trees, uh, type thing. But we're also like able to capture less of the lumber from that field. I don't know.
Sure, sure.
I sense this weird tension happening. I don't know.
I
No,
think
it
it's
makes sense
cool
to
to be
me.
honest. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. But before we get too far off track, because there's a lot of cool things that come to mind, thinking about how the world is going. But um relating to what we just talked about of mental illness and shamanism, and then I have another thing I wanted to say about Lilith that would be interesting to tie into this. One thing I've heard about shamanism. I've heard some shamans they have like schizophrenia, but they consider it like healthy schizophrenia. I don't know the exact term, but I've heard something like that. I think
Well,
maybe I read it even though
historically speaking, the like there you weren't just like, okay, I'm gonna be the village shaman today.
yeah.
And you weren't just like born and like, okay, well what do I want to be? Like you were typically classified as like something like a warrior or something like a craftsman or something like that. The
Mhm.
shamans were the physically deformed, the physically ailed, the mentally sick.
Mm.
Um, Something to do with being half in, half out,
Mm.
one foot in, one foot out, but also something to do with the theme of the wounded healer, the bleeding heart. It's something about, and this is something I talk about on my channel a lot, but it's like the more pain you go through, like the more you know how to cause that pain to other people, but also the more you know how to prevent it as well. And so because they're like, you know, potentially under constant duress, they're constantly aware of the fact that they can help other people. That's
Mm.
something that resonates with me very deeply. Um, but yeah, I mean, maybe that's why. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. Because I've I can't help but feel like maybe that's one of the reasons why bad things happen to good people is because like every single time you make it through a bad situation, like one time you can help an infinite number of people through that same situation, you know, over and over and over. So maybe that's why there's that like wounded healer, like deformed shaman uh, theme or I don't know, archetype. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah. What's your input, Julian?
So I definitely feel like there's a connection between mental health, and getting into the occult or magic, for some people, not all. Personally, I actually am diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I
Okay.
definitely think that plays into it. So I go through manic phases where, I'm on top of the world and feel like everything's under my control and I can do anything. And I go through those heavy depressive phases where I am completely defeated and I feel like but the end. Um, but a lot of me has kind of transcended that through spiritual working and
Right.
understanding like who and what I am, and with the various spirits to not only integrate my traumas and my emotional misunderstandings I've had in my life, but also just to fully understand who I am. And a major component of my spiritual workings for me was learning self-love and self-worth, because
Mm,
those were two things I definitely did not have and have gained, I will say, in like the last month or two. Like it's been a very recent thing that I've gained, and it's awesome and I love it, but I totally owe it to spirit investing their time in me and showing me that I am worth my salt, you know?
it's
But
a two-way
I think
street,
that
brother.
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. I think what you put into the universe, you get back out of the universe, and it kind of teaches you what you are and what to integrate into yourself and what to put out there and bring into your being, you know? But yeah, there's definitely an interplay for me between mental health, magic, the occult, and spirituality. And I think people who are predisposed to having some sort of mental illness type situation are likely to find help in spirituality and maybe even to say it a cure, you know.
Mm. It's fascinating how much I can already tell that we seem to have in common. I was also diagnosed, well, back when I was diagnosed, when, like I don't know, dinosaurs were still walking around. And they called it manic depression back then.
Yep,
But I think nowadays it's called bipolar 2. Uh, and
yep.
it makes me wonder how much of that is related to the dualistic raised in. Everything is good or bad. That I don't know. I don't know. It just makes me wonder, I guess. But yeah, that's definitely interesting to me. That sounds familiar again. The bipolar thing and leading potentially to spirituality and the spirituality then helping with those things because my I don't know if you'd call them cycles or rhythms, but they have I don't go as high and as low anymore, and like
Hmm.
the time between isn't as drastic. Like I can
Yep.
just tell I'm a little manic this week or a little depressed this week because I'm either trying to do too much for my focus and attention or I'm not doing enough. Or I don't feel like I'm doing enough no matter how much I do, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And through spirituality, I feel like, I mean, call it magic, call it spirituality, call it seeking the self. I don't know, but through that, I feel like that has improved so drastically, and I'm so thankful for that.
Nailed it for me, man.
That's good. That's good. So earlier you mentioned Lilith and how it was like a pink energy, correct?
At the time, yeah, that's how I perceived it. She's like definitely like the dark feminine archetype. However, like the relationship I've entered with her is like very affectionate and like overly feminine and passionate. That
Have
was
you
how I
ever
perceived it, definitely like under the psychedelic influence.
have you ever sensed maybe like a pink and orange, or was it just pink?
Yeah, definitely like pink and orange, like a flare up, you know. It's hard to describe color like under the influence of a psychedelic, you know, like they're
Sure, sure,
so
sure.
like there's like I forget the synesthesia, is that the word? You know,
Synesthesia.
senses kind of
Synesthesia, yeah.
senses kind of blend, you know, and stuff like that. So, but that's yeah, that's how I perceived it. Yeah.
Mm.
But a lot of like symbols in my vision, like it's kind of hard to describe, but it's like you're in hyperspace, you know, but at the same time you're perceiving your surroundings, but like overlay of like symbology and like ritualistic like layer, and it was her, you know. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah. Well, I have some experiences I would like to share that relate to that a little bit. When I was on the first year of getting into the left-hand path, I believe it was, um, and I had known about Lilith, and I was on shrooms painting, and like for some reason, I felt Lilith's energy, and I could actually bring the painting, but
I was actually going to ask if we could see it. That's awesome.
right here.
Oh wow.
Excellent.
And
That's
I
very
was
cool.
sensing like pink and orange energy. And I also have a girlfriend right now that she has been working with Lilith, and she's been having dreams that she sees like pink and orange eyes.
Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Hmm. So maybe like I feel like maybe pink is not a super popular mainstream color associated with her, but maybe to people who tap
I
in.
would disagree. Have you not seen all of the magenta lately? Dude, magenta has completely like flooded the media. Like
Mhm.
magenta is everywhere and it's almost always pointing toward very Lilithian things. And in my opinion.
Mhm.
I like it.
Brian.
I, I feel like she likes it, so
What was that again?
I feel like she likes it, magenta.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Probably.
I've noticed three colors specifically
Mm-hmm.
when I'm working with psychedelics and entities.
Mm-hmm.
Almost always it's like citrine, magenta, and like turquoise or teal. Um, I'm not exactly sure what, but it's there's just this persistence of those three colors. And the magenta one definitely seems, and not just in psychedelics, I mean, when I'm having a psychotropic experience, I mean, even ritually speaking, I don't have to be on an entheogen or a psychedelic. These colors, like, especially if I'm doing very shamanic like things where I'm going very, very deep and I'm letting go of a lot of things, those three colors have been very prominent. And the magenta one, has been very Lilithian. I don't know how else I would describe it. Very very coalescing and coercing, but also it's like it's tempting and reassuring at the same time. Without using entity
Well,
names, I guess that's how I would describe it. But yeah,
I
I've
mean,
noticed that as well.
she is the temptress, right? I mean, she is the one that tempts you into desire, but I also feel like she's also the lover, like the eternal lover of the divine masculine. So when you embody that divine masculine energy within yourself, like there you go, like boom, there it
Right.
is. That's your
And that's
eternal soulmate, or however you want to call it. But I also think it kind of transcends like the identity of Lilith and goes further into the just feminine goddess archetype overall. And be it Hecate, be it, Gaia, be it, name it, female goddess, I think it's the same energy speaking to us through a different label, different lens, that. But Lilith is who I connect with to that identity of the divine feminine and what works through me, I guess,
sure. Yeah, that makes sense for sure. And that makes me wonder, like those other three colors, like I noticed Trinity a lot within existence.
Oh,
Electrons,
yeah.
protons, neutrons, etc. So these three colors, I feel like the turquoise one is like the divine masculine, like in its correct polarity almost, which makes me think that the citrine, that orange color I see, is like the sun, like the child of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, which is interesting because the sun is kind of orange. And you mentioned also like the orange mixing with the pink, and the sun and the mother are always an embrace, and a lot of
Yeah.
traditional imagery. So I guess I had to put my 2 cents